Kearston, and I just want to share a bit of my testimony. I did not grow up in a Christian home. I grew up very exposed to spiritual things. My parents, I would say more so, my mom was into spiritual things, so I grew up learning about stories of my mom when she did Ouija boards and tarot cards and psychics and all that kind of stuff. So I grew up in a lot of fear, like even growing up living in a haunted house, like we would hear the dishes being done and weird things like that, orbs, and I don't know. So I just grew up in a lot of fear to spiritual things. I always, like, in my gut knew that God was real, even though I didn't know who Jesus was. Like, in my thoughts, God's name was Joseph because both were Jesus' dad. So that's basically my theology of Jesus. And it wasn't until I was 19 years old I got involved in Campus Crusade for Christ. But that was after a lot of being pursued by the Lord. My sister became a Christian about a year or so before me, and I would come home from college telling her about my party stories and all these things, and she would be so condemning actually at first, but it started convicting me. She would talk about her heart and her life being transformed because she was saved, and I was like, what does saved mean? So I began that journey of what does that really mean? So my whole freshman year of college, I began searching and praying. I didn't even know that I was praying, but I was just like, Lord, if you're real, like, I need you to reveal yourself to me. And for my birthday that year, my sister got me a Bible, so I started reading it for the first time, and I was just like, this is who this Jesus guy is? I was like, he's so loving, like, I want to love just like him. And I remember in my social work classes, we had to write journals, and I was writing about Jesus, no idea who he was, but I was just like, there's this guy named Jesus, and he loves so well, and like, I want to love like him, and I want, just like putting verses in my journals and everything. I don't know, it was bizarre. God was just doing like a deep work in me I didn't even know, just pursuing me and wooing me in. And that summer in between my freshman and my sophomore year, I gave up partying. I was getting super convicted about drinking and getting drunk, so I stopped getting drunk. There was a guy I was dating, and I broke it off with him, and I went into sophomore year so hungry. And I was like, God, I don't know what it means to be saved, but I'm finding it out this year. I'm going to Campus Crusade for Christ because they're the only Christians I know on campus. So I got myself involved, and some people forced me to get involved in Bible studies and all that. And as much as now I'm like, those 4 law booklets are like not really my jam, I'm a fruit of the 4 law booklets through Campus Crusade. So I was in my dorm room, and I read through the book, and at the end, it just shared about Jesus. Like, he died for me. He gave his life so that I could be free, have no sin, in a nutshell. But the last part at the end is like, you have to stop living for yourself and live for Jesus. And I was just like, nobody could tell me this for 19 years or even being involved. I was just like, how come nobody ever told me this? So that I gave my life to Jesus, expecting a dove to descend, like in the Bible, but nothing happened. So I was like, I guess I'm a Christian now. So I just started my journey walking with Christ, and I guess fast forward a bit, I went on a bunch of missions trips, and I just began to have a heart for people and children and the nations. And now here I am at Lifestyle Christianity, and just growing so much out of fear and fear of man and into my identity, just knowing that I'm a daughter. And I feel like that's like the most vital piece of when you became a Christian, is that I feel like a lot of times the church doesn't really teach about sonship and what it means to really walk in your identity as a daughter and just being fully accepted. And as I am learning that and resting in that, I am becoming so much more free to just be me. And all the fear that I had of the spiritual things from before is like breaking off of my life, just as I rest in the revelation of like who he is and how much he loves me.